Let's think about your most valuable asset in a completely new way. I'm talking about the modern sow. But I want you to picture her as something else. Picture a high-performance athlete, an athlete who is pushed to her absolute limits, facing incredible metabolic challenges just to deliver on her amazing genetic promise.
So that brings up a really important question, doesn't it? Is the real engine of your farm's productivity, is she truly performing at her peak? Or could there be a hidden handicap holding her back and, by extension, holding back your profits?
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into the Athlete Sows Challenge. Then, we'll uncover a pretty amazing secret from the sea. After that, we'll get into the science of performance, see the hard proof in the numbers, and finally, we'll calculate the real return on investment for farms right here in Vietnam. Okay, Section 1. Let's dive right into the Athlete Sows Challenge. We really have to understand the steep metabolic price she pays for the incredible genetic leaps we've seen in recent years. This right here, this is the core of the problem. On one side, you have this amazing genetic promise, right? Bigger litters, unbelievable productivity. But on the other side, that comes at a huge metabolic cost. Her own body struggles to manage all that energy. Her glucose metabolism gets thrown out of whack, and the result, longer farrowing and sadly, higher piglet mortality. And look, this isn't some small, isolated issue. Not at all. Research from 2021 shows that a staggering 30%, that's nearly 1 in every 3 sows, has a significant problem with their glucose metabolism. It's a hidden handicap that's impacting herds all over the world. And you see the results of this energy crisis right on the farm floor. It means the farrowing process gets longer and more difficult. That leads to more stillborn piglets. And the ones that are born alive, they often lack that get up and go, that vitality. They just don't thrive. And it all adds up to higher pre-weaning mortality. So, what can we do about it? What if the answer wasn't some new synthetic drug, but something that comes from nature itself? Well, that brings us to our next section, a secret from the sea, a completely natural solution for this very modern metabolic challenge. And that solution is called ProSe. It's this unique formulation made from seaweed, and not just any seaweed, it's sustainably harvested from the clean, cold waters of the North Atlantic. The real magic is in its special blend of natural anti-inflammatory bioactives and a whole complex of marine minerals. But, okay, how can seaweed actually make a sow perform better? I mean, really. To understand that, we need to look at the science of performance, and it all boils down to a powerful, triple mode of action. You can think of it like a 3-step tune-up for the sow's entire metabolic engine. First, it dials down systemic inflammation. Second, it directly improves that all-important glucose metabolism. And third, it actually increases the function of her tissues and muscles. So, let's break each of those down. Step 1, it reduces stress. Farrowing is a hugely inflammatory event for the sow. ProSea helps by bringing down cortisol, which is the body's main stress hormone. A study at Dankook University proved this. Just look at the chart. ProSea-fed sows had way lower cortisol levels after farrowing. What does that mean for you? Calmer sows that can recover faster and get back to work. Okay, step 2. It optimizes her energy. This is so cool. ProSea actually helps reprogram how the sow uses energy, right down at the genetic level. It tells the body to make less of the gene that stores fat, and instead ramps up production of a gene that transports glucose, that's pure energy, directly to the piglets through the umbilical cord. They get this massive vitality boost before they're even born. And that leads to step 3, better muscle function. With all the sufficient energy suddenly available, the sow's muscles just work better, plain and simple. And that translates directly to a shorter, easier farrowing. In fact, a huge meta-analysis found it cuts farrowing time by an average of 20 minutes. That's a critical window for reducing risk to both the sow and her piglets. So the science is pretty fascinating, right? But what really matters are the results on your farm. So now, let's get into the proof in the numbers. Let's see how all this science translates into real-world results. Here it is, the headline number. This comes from a massive meta-analysis. We're talking over 5,000 sows across 8 separate studies. And they all found a consistent, powerful result. Sows fed Pro-Z weaned an average of 0.65 extra piglets per litter. That's just a game-changing improvement.
So where does that incredible gain come from? Well, it starts right at birth. That same trial at Dankook University, it found that the Pro-Z-fed sows had, on average, 3/4 of a piglet more born alive per litter.
And that advantage just gets bigger. In that same trial, those sows went on to wean over 1 full extra piglet per litter. This is huge. It proves it's not just about getting more born. It's about their improved health, their vitality, and their ability to survive and thrive all the way to weaning.
But hold on, it's not just about quantity, it's also about quality. Those same studies consistently show that the piglets from Pro-Z-fed sows are heavier at weaning. We're talking at least 300 grams heavier. So you get more pigs, and they're higher quality pigs.
All right, let's get down to the bottom line. It's time to take all this global data and make it personal. Let's build the financial case specifically for your farm right here in Vietnam. Let's calculate your return on investment.
Now, to build a solid business case, you have to be totally transparent. So here are the numbers we're using, tailored for the Vietnamese market. We're assuming a price of 2.5 million dong for a weaned piglet, a net cost for Prozia of 47,200 dong per kilo, and an annual usage of about 4 kilos per sow. Okay, let's walk through this together, step by step. First, what's your annual cost? Easy. A sow uses 4 kilos of Pro-Z a year. At 47,200 dong a kilo, your total investment is just under 189,000 dong. Nice and simple. Now, step 2. What's the value of those extra piglets? We know Pro-Z gives you an extra 0.65 weaned piglets per litter. Over a year, that extra production alone is worth over 3.8 million dong. And then step 3, the value of the extra weight. This part is so important. Every single piglet she weans is 300 grams heavier. That extra weight across all her piglets for the year adds another 2.8 million dong in value. So you add the value from more piglets and the value from heavier piglets together for a total annual benefit of nearly 6.7 million dong, all from that tiny initial investment.
And here's a visual of where that value comes from. It's a powerful 1-2 punch. 57% of your profit comes from just weaning more piglets. And a huge 43% comes from the extra weight on every single one of them. It's a true dual benefit of quantity and quality. So, what happens when you divide that total benefit by your initial cost? You get this, an incredible 35.4 times return on your investment. Let me say that again. For every single dong you invest in Pro-Z, you get more than 35 dong back. For every saw, every single year.
You know, it really makes you think, doesn't it? In a world that's always chasing the next high-tech gadget or chemical solution, maybe, just maybe, the most powerful secrets are still hiding in plain sight, deep within nature, just waiting for us to find them. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.